Okay, thank you very much, Michael and the MC girl. Thank you again, Favors, for this opportunity to moderate this panel. My name is Antria. I'm the T Hub marketing manager of Toko Crypto. When Favors asked me to moderate a panel, I specifically asked to moderate a social impact panel because it's within my biggest interest in the blockchain industry. And I'm very happy right now to be able to moderate this panel with these amazing people. When I see who are the panelists, well, I'm so excited to be able to like be in the same panels with them and brain rape all of you about my questions. So before we start, I think we can go around and introduce ourselves. Maybe not more than 1 hour per person.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Matthew Cook, based in Bali from the US. Very involved in sustainability. I have a passion for sustainability. We have a business in Bali that creates rainwater beverages. That's not a Web3 business, but that's also something that is very important to us as far as sustainability goes. But we are very involved in the Web3 space, and I am one of the co-founders of Off-Chain Bali, which is a networking platform that brings together the community and shares resources to help push forward the future of blockchain. And also, we have a platform or a project called Bali Collective, and Bali Collective is essentially building an impact ecosystem using a token economy to incentivize and reward impact. Essentially, we would like to make impact accessible to everyone in everyday life, everywhere, at all times. So this is part of what we're here to talk about as far as refi goes. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So my name is Leah. I'm from Jakarta. I'm back again, but I've been living in Bali for 2 years now since the pandemic. So my project is Robomot NFT. So Robomot is the first NFT with a remote workers utility. My biggest passion is all about reskilling and upskilling people, and with the Remote Skills Academy that I run, we reskill and upskill them through digital skills. Like the recent course that we are doing was around community management for NFT, right? I'm also the founder and co-managing director of Girls in Tech Indonesia. We aim to inspire the geek in every girl. So I will talk more about that later. Thank you.
And my name is Steven, and I've been involved in impact and blockchain projects for the last several years, leading an Indonesian rupiah stablecoin together with Indodax, and advising a universal basic income project from Circles in Germany, here in a project that's in Bali in development.
Yeah, hi, I'm Meinhard. I'm the founder and chairman of Satoshi Pay, and now, yeah, Meinhard, oh, that's better. Meinhard, founder and chairman of Satoshi Pay, and also Pendulum, which is a blockchain in the Polkadot ecosystem. And I also co-founded a couple of NGOs, sort of connecting technology, usually with environmental awareness. And also, personally, I'm a angel investor in different green projects or eco projects. And yeah, with always an eye on environmental awareness. Also, Pendulum is running on sort of a environmentally friendly proof of stake network. And that's kind of, I think, also important that if you decide on a platform, you check also the environmental impact of that platform.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Corley. I'm the co-founder and managing partner at Bali Investment Club. Bali Investment Club is Bali's first professionally run impact investment vehicle, where we look for Indonesians' top talent and not only provide them financial assistance, but also support startups. So we really go around the islands looking for the startups that we believe can make a real impact across the islands from a social point of view and an environmental point of view. And then we'll gather angel investors, institutional investors, to invest in the company, and we provide a, let's say, a holistic support program where we work with the founders to help them reach their goals. It's been an amazing 2 years so far, and we're about to launch our first official fund. And for us, that's really the next big step that we can take in supporting to build the Indonesian impact ecosystem. Thank you very much for hosting us today.
Thank you, Tom, and everyone for introducing yourself. Well, most of you are handling multiple projects, yeah, combining Web 2 and Web 3. And most of all of you live in Bali? Yes. So when we talk about social impact, when we wanted to do project in Bali, I noticed that you cannot really run away from the social impact aspect to it. Like people will ask, like, okay, you have this project, like how will you give back to the community of Bali? That becomes like the core of like many projects, right? And that's also the culture that you want to bring outside of Bali as well. Like every time you want to make money out of something, like how can you also give back to the society? So in the previous panel, we have talked about the basic, I think Natasha already explained what is blockchain. So now we can move on. Maybe a question for you, and then the other also can add from you, Matt. From the very basic, like how do you think like blockchain technology can contribute for a social impact of a greater goods for like emerging markets, countries like for now like we're Indonesia. So how can blockchain contribute for like social impact in Indonesia?
Okay, well, I think there's a lot of different things that we could talk about, but for me personally, what we're working on right now is working with a lot of different NGOs to help support their needs, but also a lot of times in the philanthropy, the transparency is not always there. And so donors or contributors, they don't necessarily trust or know where their money's going. And sometimes they would love to see how that is being used. So I think for us, we're dedicated to something that we call proof of impact, right? So bringing impact on chain. And for example, one project that we have that we're working with an orphanage called the Bali Life Foundation, where we're building a rainwater harvesting system. But the idea is to put some sort of sensor there so that we can record the data, and that comes directly from the sensor to the computer, and that goes on chain, right? So then there's transparency. We can start to collect how much water is being collected. Then you have certain offsets from the groundwater, but also understanding where that money went. So every NGO that we work with, we have to have specific proposals, and it's milestone based, right? So that's really important for us, is to have that transparency and be able to provide the accountability. But then also with blockchain, there's so many cool things that are coming, right? With the decentralized identities and also this idea of non-transferable NFTs. So imagine down the line, calling it something different, but allowing people to have badges that build their reputation based on accomplishment. And so NGOs, by doing the impact and creating the impact, they can begin to be verified and validated and accumulate reputational merit that is non-transferable, and nobody can take that away from them. And that basically validates them in the eyes of the public so that they are verified. So that's one exciting thing that I think is capable because it's a blockchain based. Yeah.
Wow, so it's also becomes it will remove the barrier of entry of people who want to contribute because they have they're skeptical about the NGO. Now it's transparent, everybody can have access to it. Maybe Tom, BIC are mostly it already exists before this, right? You're mostly looking for like Web 2 projects. What do you think? What's your opinion on how blockchain can make it better for social impact in Bali and also maybe in your Web 2 business?
So what we need to understand, with blockchain is what blockchain actually is. And all that blockchain actually is just a ledger that you can technically not edit. And that's the beauty of the blockchain, is that you create an input in it and you can't actually alter it. And when we look at how you can apply the ledger model, we can look at, let's say, the agri-tech space and things like provenance. So today we love to eat things like, biofood, organic carrots and stuff like this, but How do you know that the carrot is actually organic? How do you know that the farmer got paid fair trade prices? You don't. You just have to trust that the people putting that, on the sticker are actually telling you the truth. Blockchain, applying blockchain to that kind of supply chain creates this proof that things happened as they were supposed to. And for us, we're really looking at the blockchain technology from a provenance point of view, and especially in the agri-tech, where we can then say, okay, how can we prove to the end user that literally, I'm using a carrot as an example because it's a very simple example, was that the seed itself is organic. It got planted in organic soil. It was tracked through all the steps of its growth, got harvested at the right date by this person. That person got paid that amount, and then it exchanged hands and ended up on your plate. And this is something that's becoming, let's say, more and more important in today's world, which is a beautiful trend that we're busy following. And so customers, and especially big customers, are requested, or almost governments, especially in many countries, are actually forcing big companies to apply traceability on their supply chains. And as we know, developing countries are the countries that produce most of the world's food. And therefore, there's a real, extremely powerful use case for using blockchain in a space that affects millions of lives. And it has a positive effect on the environment and on societies. And this is something that we actively work for in developing the agri-tech space in Bali and neighboring islands.
Very interesting. Thank you for your answer. Actually, the title of this talk is Social Impact and Refi, right? Honestly, like I'm not even that familiar with what refi is. Maybe any of you want to explain in like simple term? Yes, Manhart. What is like refi? How is it related to blockchain and social impact in general, please?
Yeah, so refi or regenerative finance takes the idea of impact investing a bit further and enables change makers to go from an extractive economy to a regenerative economy. So essentially, the profit making becomes a byproduct, but not the aim of all the social activity or all the economic activity. It's not a new thing. So, for example, the Rudolf Steiner Foundation has been working in that space for many years already. And sort of traditional means, as a big fund, they deployed funds in regenerative finance projects. But now refi is connecting that, and that's also where the kind of short comes from, with DeFi economics or DeFi mechanics, meaning that it's suddenly decentralized and the crowd can take over, not just in how the funds are supplied, but also in how it's governed. That you have maybe a DAO governing a project, and it's being funded. Someone can give as little as maybe a few cents or a few rupiah to fund a project that they like. So the entry barrier gets very, very low, and the impact of the individual and also the awareness gets very, very high. So that's really what refi enables. And I personally have been doing refi for quite some time already. And that's also why I personally am very interested in this space, because it does combine, I think, the passion that we all share for the planet, the people, and also to a certain extent profits in a new, let's say, contemporary form. So I hope that answers the question.
It's something that actually can be implemented like in the countrywide.
Say again, sorry.
It's something that can be implemented like in the countrywide, like government can use it, or is it more like in the private institutions, refi?
Yeah, it's taking out the intermediaries. So it is something that is being added as a third method next to governments or like the free markets. It's something in between that kind of resembles an NGO, but with DeFi mechanisms becoming its own sort of new animal. It's kind of really an innovation.
See, thank you for explaining. Now I understand better. I hope you also understand better what is refi. So back to the social impact. When we talk about impact in like first world country and developing countries, of course we're talking about two different things. Like for example, Indonesia, we're still struggling with a very basic problems like poverty, unemployment, lack of education. Maybe for Stephen, and then if you want to add, feel free to. Like, how is blockchain specifically offer? Do you think blockchain offers solutions specifically to developing countries' problems? And if yes, how?
specific to developing countries' problems. Yes, absolutely. Because there are a number of issues that developing countries face, like being able to access credit. It's much cheaper to take out a loan in Europe or in North America at much lower interest rates than it is in Indonesia. So if we're looking at so a farmer here, for example, who's growing vegetables or producing a crop, if they have to pay or borrow money in order to buy equipment or something like that, they pay a much higher price, and then they receive a low price for that when it's sent over to exported out to another country where they're able to get loans at a much lower rate. So the current global economic game is tilted against developing countries. And this is where what we're doing with blockchain technologies can help to rebalance that by providing transparency in the crops that are being produced. For the prices that are being paid to the farmers who are producing them, so that the end users or the end consumers can see how their purchase is affecting the livelihoods of people around them. So that's just one example of many where we can use these technologies to help all the industries that are presenting at Trade Expo here to have a stronger footing in the global marketplace.
Oh, what about you, Leah? As the only Indonesian and the only female in the panel. I'm so happy to have you here. What's your opinion on that? Because
Yeah.
we are experiencing
Yeah.
those problems firsthand, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear that in Indonesia we still have a lot of problems, right? That's why I'm a startup founders before Web3, and every single time I create my startup, it's all about solving some problem, because we are not there yet to think about something else for now. I think, yeah. So right now, solving problem first, and then innovation. And now, if we can combine it, amazing, right? One of the technology, of course, the use cases of Web3 right now, blockchain, that is very useful for Indonesian, especially because we have a lot of artists in Indonesia, creators. And before, they probably just create something, put it online, and then nothing coming out of it. And now they can turn it into NFT, right? Even they can take selfie and make a lot of money from it, right? Go Zali. So I think the use cases of smart contract, and then how you can make digital assets, and then use it in NFT, and then you basically can open opportunities basically for young people, creative young people in Indonesia, and that's big. Adding their income, and that's a big problem solver right now, I think.
Yeah. So well, we're with you. I know how passionate you are in like spreading this girl power movement, especially in the tech industry. So you're also the founder of like
Girls
in Tech, yeah.
Indonesia.
So it's a community of like a female working in tech. When where are you at during events like this? It's all usually all males, but like I actually also hosted some women in blockchain event, and actually there are quite a lot of us, but maybe busy doing the work in the home. I don't know. In your opinion and the way you see it, you experience it firsthand. Before we talk about like poverty and then other challenging problems of like developing countries, but how is like blockchain help? Because one of our problem is like there is the disparity of genders, right, in Indonesia. Because it's more like your topic. What's your opinion on how blockchain can help to balancing out the gender discrimination maybe in Indonesia, especially for females?
Yeah, maybe at first is awareness first, right? I mean, projects like World of Women, for example, they highlight women artists around the world. They also fund actually women projects. So a big awareness going on with that, and then education, right? Right now, what I'm doing with Remote Skills Academy, we we educate young people, and a lot of them are women, to become a community manager for NFT projects. And then eventually the alumni will gonna work with RoboMod holders, right? So all process going to be transparent. So, and they're safe, right? Because it's connected directly to the clients, and the clients know their docs, and everything will be smooth, and everything will be by smart contract. And yeah, that's I think, and then that's the thing about for women, the education part. And then also, when I see it in Indonesia, to be specific, is the financial inclusion, right? How like right now, for women to be able to have their own wallet, for example, right? And to receive funds that probably they work for Robomot clients, or maybe working in several different DAOs, right? And then side hustling, and then they get their own money, and then it goes directly to their own wallet and not to their husband wallet or family wallet, right? Their own. So it creates a big empowerment for them to be independent, right? So I think those are the smaller but very practical use cases of blockchain for women. Yeah.
Thank you. Also, Matt, in your mural fest, I noticed that you're working with a lot of like local artists, and some of them are also women. Yeah, can you tell me more about how you work with them? What kind of partnership that you have with these local painters and local artists in your events?
Sure. Yeah, I think that what Lee was saying is that, as far as the creator economy goes, and working directly with artists is powerful, and women artists, of course, are a part of that whole ecosystem, and giving them the knowledge and understanding through working with Mural Fest is a good start to be able to understand how they can, if they're a traditional artist, how they can utilize the tools of Web3 to create their own NFTs, and then also, program their own smart contracts with some of the tools that are out there. I think that it's very empowering. So we have definitely a community of artists, and it's continuing to grow. And we would love to create with Remote Skills Academy and have them be one of our recipients of the benefits of some of the impact NFTs that we create. So that's what we do as well. We create the NFTs that have the proposals of NGOs, and then the local artists that we work with. They come together, and we marry them in a smart contract, and then that is a funding model that is kind of in perpetuity. There's always the royalties. But I think that as far as the refi goes, it really kind of works right into the type of ecosystem that we're creating, because it is something that is an impact ecosystem that rewards people for using the ecosystem and engaging, whether it's a business, whether it's an artist or a consumer for buying the impact NFT, or the NGO itself. They're all playing their role in the ecosystem, and they all receive rewards and benefits, points, tokens, and that all has an impact through the work that the NGOs do. But it wouldn't be possible without all the other players in the ecosystem. So creating those vertically integrated ecosystems that make sure everybody is contributing, and that there's a way to prove that impact. I think, and what we're doing right now is we're making a bit of a shift to really work in the ESG goals, so the sustainability goals, to have that be something that our Yayasan, that is the impact fund, is creating NFTs that are driving the ESG goals, and that allows for us to kind of have that the ability to onboard certain NGOs that are doing work within each of those different goals, and then that's a way to create that refi, because the refi also leads back to those ESG goals as well. So yeah, hope that answers.
It's all connected, and
It's all
everybody
connected.
needs to participate to make it work in
That's
the
right.
ecosystem. Yeah, thank you very much for your answer. So another problem that is real that we need to tackle right now is the climate change, right? And it's actually quite well known. The stereotype is that blockchain technology is like not environmentally friendly due to the big amount of electricity needed to keep the system going. What's your opinion on that? Is that true? Is there any solution that the community and the industry is offering at the moment to tackle that? Maybe Tom, you? Yes, you.
Yeah, I have quite strong opinions on this, so maybe I go first. So I've been exploring the Bitcoin protocol since 2011, so very early on, and then mining was the only way to, like, proof of work, which uses a lot of electricity, a lot less back then. It was the only way to create a censorship-resistant platform, or like database, essentially. And that was the main focus to get this whole revolution started. These days, censorship resistance is not the most important thing anymore. You can have trusted or partially trusted parties, and therefore you can switch to other protocols, technical protocols that can consume a lot less, like a fraction, maybe a fraction of a percent of what the Bitcoin uses, to have the same effect in terms of making transactions happen or running smart contracts. So Bitcoin and other proof of work chains. So yeah, not all blockchains are equal, right? So you can't say blockchain is is killing the climate. Bitcoin, with its consumption of like small countries, for sure needs to be rethought, or maybe reduce mining power in some way over time. But yeah, it was important to get this started, and it makes it transparent. I mean, we know how much energy the Bitcoin network consumes, or also Ethereum used to consume, because we have the numbers. We have the number of blocks, the number of miners, and mining hash rate. So we know that. We cannot put a number on how much the traditional financial system consumes in electricity. There's just no transparency there. It might, and some studies say it does consume more than, for example, the Bitcoin network. So it's equally harmful for the planet. So yeah, just to create that transparency is one thing, but also now moving on to more modern and sort of the second and third iteration of blockchain protocols helps definitely to increase the ratio in favor of environmentally friendly, of sort of making other change happen in the world.
Yeah. So yeah, and in the previous panel also, like Natasha said that internet ICP blockchain is all trying so hard to tackle that problem. So I think like the new projects are considering that very seriously. Okay, maybe want to add on that? You're the yes, please.
I don't think it's a very big deal, and I question the motives of people to make that argument. I read recently in the news that someone was trying, or one research organization was trying to claim that Bitcoin mining is worse than gold mining, and I just don't see. I mean, they're only comparing electricity usage, and they're not comparing tearing apart an ecosystem and grinding down a mountain in order to dig out a few nuggets as being comparable. So I think that yes, we certainly do. I mean, we're in a position now where the technology can, we don't have to do proof of work only. So, but we don't need to do that just because of the power that's being used, I think.
There are many aspects to consider. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, like introduced before, like all of you representing your own projects. Can you share maybe what's is there anything that you already? I mean, Matt, of course, what you've done with Moral Fest, everything is amazing. But maybe with Tom, in BIC, is there any program that's already running or you have planned? Related to using blockchain technology, maybe, or maybe related to a project using blockchain technology that is have social impact in mind as the main thing to it.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, when we're looking at from a supply chain point of view, I was talking about the agri-tech space and pretty much inviting some of the startups that we're bringing in to think along those lines. What you've got to understand is, like, deploying that technology creates a specific type of value, and it doesn't necessarily support the core revenue model or the core business model of the operation. So when we look at deploying a blockchain technology to let's say a supply chain company, we have to look at it from a staged approach, because there's usually quite a high setup cost for that. It'll cost you like up to a couple $100,000 to actually deploy a proper blockchain protocol for like an end-to-end solution. And when a startup is busy, stressing every day to make some revenues, we can't justify investing $300,000 on a nice to have. and it's a nice, and it's becoming not just a nice to have, but an important and very soon a must have. But at the beginning of a startup's journey, it's definitely a nice to have. So it goes kind of into like phase 2 or phase 3 of deployment. When we're looking at circular economy, same thing for recycling ecosystems. It's an amazing piece of technology, and let's say in the future of BIC, we'd love for our whole ecosystem to be running on the blockchain, because as you were mentioning, Matt, earlier, it's a tracking tool. And for us, when we're managing people's capital, when we're running an impact fund, people want to see numbers, not just the financial outputs, but what are the impact outputs? How many lives are we actually transforming? How are we helping the environment, shift? How do you measure those things? Where do you pull those numbers? How can you trust those numbers? Using blockchain protocol allows you to create transparency and, let's say, maintain authenticity across how you collect the data. And for us, this is part of our, let's say, of our like 2 to 3 year strategy at BIC, is to have a whole ecosystem running on that. And then there's different dimensions of blockchain. So for us, as a ledger recording tool, it's very, very powerful. And then the next step is actually as an investment tool. And this is when we have to wait for the, let's say, Indonesian legal system and financial system to catch up. Because right now we can't use, let's say, tokens and stuff as a legitimate investment tool into startups. Like, those tokens don't hold up in the courts of law in Indonesia. And therefore, we have to let this kind of, let's say, token crowdfunding model sleep for now until it's ready to be endorsed. And then we can link the amazing digital world with the real world assets. So, old world meets new world. We can wait on that. But in the meanwhile, we can really leverage blockchain from a recording and data processing point of view. And that's one of the most transformative tools we've experienced in the last decade.
Thank you very much for your answer, Tom. I already got a sign that we're at the end of our panel session, but before we end it, I have questions for everyone that you can answer based on your own experience, and also it may be useful for our audience. So the question is, not everybody here is working in a blockchain project, right? Most of you probably just heard about blockchain today. Like me, for example, like I'm not a developer, I cannot really do the tech thing of it. But what is your what do you think is a small step that everyone can do? Because based on our discussion, we can agree that blockchain is a powerful technology that can solve many problems when used correctly. What is a small step that we all can do to start using blockchain to solve our daily society problems? Maybe from Tom, and then go to Matt.
Yeah. So it is. We were actually speaking about it before the session. Is looking at blockchain as a tool and understanding how you can use a tool to solve people's problems and solve it using the language that they can use. And when we're talking about blockchain ledgers and things like that, it's really just a case of, listen, we can make sure that we can track the process of a good along its journey. How that happens, the geeks can take care of that. So it's really just connecting the tool with a real world problem and making it easy for people to jump on board. And when you explain it simply, then they'll adopt it right away. So it's really simplifying the technology into the value that it creates for its users, and then letting the nerds and geek take care of the how it's done.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I would start recommending that you use the blockchain as sort of the censorship-resistant payment network that it is, or that some of the blockchains are, and just kind of empower yourself to donate directly to someone in need, or like a project that's collecting funding by downloading a wallet, something like Unstoppable, and getting some funds there, some bitcoins or some stable coins, and then start donating around the web, just or wherever you find an address of project, just send them some money, $1 or $2, euros, just to see how it feels, and also to feel how empowering it is to directly from one person to another send funds without any bank, anyone else in between, just a network, just one simple blockchain, and you have this peer-to-peer experience. I think that will teach you a lot about the technology already, and also the power that it holds.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that that it's really important for us to start learning about how to apply these technologies or to make use of them. So there are browsers like the Opera crypto browser that's very easy to use, and finding some ways to open up a wallet that's really easy, and then to start looking at the projects that are out there that could use our support and participate in them, whether that's games or just doing fun things, but just find a way that's comfortable for you, and then look at how we can make the world a better place through these technologies as well.
Amazing.
You guys already answer everything.
Add more.
Okay, I will add the part of self-confident, building self-confident, right, in this space. This is very new. So everybody is also new. Everyone is also new. So if you are very new in this, educate yourself. YouTube has a lot, and then come to events like this in Bali. There's a lot of events like this, and make friends with blockchain people, and then just hang out with them. Actually, even just hang out with them, you already can get something to your brain. But things that I do usually, so I hang out with communities, and then I create my own wallet. Whether it's centralized and decentralized, and then I make my first investment in crypto, and then buy my first NFT, and then it's from there, it goes from there. So yeah, you build confidence first in using all this new technology.
Small steps.
Yeah, definitely said a lot of great things. I think that starting to really use layman's terms and rebrand the terminologies is a great idea. Getting a wallet, like you said, starting to experiment on your own is a great way. Starting to ask questions. YouTube is always great to for information like that. Not necessarily advice, but learning things is good on YouTube. But for me, I would say understanding what an NFT really is. Okay, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there based on how NFTs became popular and why they became popular, and the underlying technology of blockchain and how an NFT fits into that, and what an NFT can be used for, all the different use cases. Start to brainstorm all the different examples of what they can represent, whether it be a certificate or a title. All these different types of utilities are amazing, right? So it's very important to just understand that if you don't, and know that it's not just about a piece of art that's is hype driven or whatever. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you, Matt. Again, I will say thank you for everyone for joining this panel, for Matt, for Leah, Stephen, Menhart, and Tom. Thank you for taking your time to travel to Jakarta and share your knowledge of us. And then thank you everyone also for watching. This is the end of the panel, and I'll see you in another event. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie.